Hi, everyone. Welcome into the Rochester Press Box. Bill Pucko with you. It's joined by the guys. A pleasure. A lot to talk about. Tariq, how you doing?
Absolutely. There's so much to talk about at the Combine, apparently, where men will replace other men for their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. Toronto Blue Jays?
Yeah, well, it's spring training. The games have started, so why not wear the Roberto Alomar spring training early 90s jersey, Jays jersey, with the patch. All-Star Game 91. I love the patch. It's a beautiful patch.
Patch is good. And you've been doubling up on us. Now you got hats now going, too.
Well, I don't feel, well, here's the problem. I don't feel like combing my hair for you guys.
Oh.
End of story.
What about all of our viewers?
You don't even, you get to buzz it all the way down. I got a big scar on my head. I can't buzz that.
Both of them. So the Combine this week. You got an opinion on it?
Not really when it comes to the talent of the player, because you've got, I don't know how many years of football for these guys to basically look at the tape. I don't know what's going to happen over the end of this past college football season all the way up to March that's going to make you say, yeah, we should draft this kid. But that being said, I think it's interesting about these different tests, and especially when we talk about athletes and how much pressure is on them. We've talked a lot about their mental health and the importance of it. You remember there was a lot of controversy over this Wonderlic test or these psychological tests. I still believe that there's some sort of bias that goes along with them, but it's worth the discussion to find out what type of human being you have. That being said, they already have private eyes and investigators that can tell you about these kids.
But what about those psychological tests? I mean, there's been a pushback lately. I mean, C.J. Stroud was so, I guess, smeared as a decent enough word. It happened last year in terms of one of these things. And now there's some players that are refusing to take them.
Which I completely understand. Look, I mean, you look at a guy like C.J. Stroud, right? He scored like a ridiculously low test on whatever the aptitude test is now. I mean, if you watch him play football, that guy read a defense pretty well his rookie season. They win a division with one of the worst teams in the league the year before and go to the playoffs. I mean, there's examples of that over and over and over again. I don't put too much stock in those tests. However, I do find myself oddly addicted to watching every single drill that they air on the NFL network when these guys go. And I'm not a scout. I don't know what I'm looking for. But like you said, the pressure is so high. Yeah. These are the best athletes of their towns. They've been the best athletes their entire life. Now they're all up against each other. Teron Johnson a couple years ago, Bills nickel corner, one of the best in the league, almost blew his chance of playing in the league because he took a football to the head when he was looking the other way in a drill. It's one of the funniest clips of all time. You can go find it if you want to, but I need it. I just need football in some way, and this gives it to me.
What these things are so funny is that like they do all this evaluation, and yet all this seems to amount to me is like 5 years later, we're laughing at watching guys run the 40 and reading their scouting reports as to how wrong they were 5 years out.
Well, I love it. And I love it when people put their name to it because they're totally wrong about a guy they evaluated. They've evaluated. Look at last year, a couple of years ago, the Jets go for a quarterback. Look at the arm strength. Unbelievable. Great pro day. Just couldn't read a defense, couldn't get past the basic, lines of defense that he was able to face in the first few years of the NFL season. We do this all the time. So we look for the guy with the greatest arm, the fastest speed, unbelievable. And then we ignore the tape that they have for the last 3 years. We draft them, take a chance on them, and then somewhere along the line we wonder why they went wrong.
Okay, the guy I always think about is Eric Flowers. Remember Eric Flowers?
Big time.
Oh my God. He was such a physical specimen, a defensive end that the Bills drafted high. He just looked like the perfect football player.
Sure.
Did nothing.
No, you're right. The same thing happened with Aaron Maben playing 1 year at Penn State, was a all-star at the Combine. But look, here's the thing. The Bills need a wide receiver in the first 3 rounds of the draft, maybe 2 out of the first 3 rounds of the draft. I'm going to watch all the wide receiver drills. I am going to decide which one the best one is, and I'm going to be furious if the Bills don't take him. And you bring up Combine all-stars, right? A name that you will remember because he at one point owned the record for most bench presses by a rookie at the Combine, Leif Larson. Ooh. I believe Icelandic native, number 97 in your programs, number 1 in your heart. He was my favorite Bill for 2 seasons.
Right?
What?
Yeah, I think so. Something like that.
Why are you going to watch? Are you going to work out while these guys are running these combines and doing these drills?
I hadn't thought about that.
Which ones work? There's got to be something in there that you can attach yourself to and say, this works.
No, I mean, what is it, the 40? That's about it?
Well,
maybe?
no, I would argue.
And sometimes that doesn't work either.
I would argue the 40 is the least reliable. I mean, the shuttle, the ability to check someone's agility for all different positions, that's the most important thing. And you're right. It's probably all parlor games. It's all tricks because these guys specifically train for these drills. So you're not getting their authentic athletic ability. You're getting how well they are at these drills. That being said, I'm going to watch it.
What is going to happen when the Bills do not draft the wide receiver you love and you're sitting there on draft day like, You're just putting more pressure on yourself and giving yourself more anxiety.
You're right. I'm going to be just as furious as I was when the Bills drafted Josh Allen instead of Josh Rosen, and I thought our franchise was going down the tubes. Just let me have my fun. Just let me have my
That's fun
Plus,
for you.
he thrives on anxiety. You know this.
I'm just hanging out with you guys.
This is the Rochester Press Box. We're talking Buffalo Bills next. Just passing through. Life lessons from notable Rochesterians. People you may think you know. Don Alhart, Maggie Brooks, John Dady, and Stacy Pension. J. Mack and Soccer Sam. Fred Costello, and Jake Zembeck. Along with 21 more. How they all got from there to here. It's a new book by Bill Pucko. Available for $12 postpaid only from rocksportsnow.com. Try it, and thank you. Our NFL pick segment in the Rochester Press Box, brought to you by Connors and Ferris, your trusted and dedicated workers' comp attorneys and official sponsor of the Buffalo Bills. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here in the Rochester Press Box talking Buffalo Bills. Our Buffalo Bills segment is brought to you by Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys. Sean McDermott, quote, was getting some mileage, says, for as far as the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl, it's just a matter of when and not if.
Yeah, I agree with him. I mean, do you disagree with the point that he makes? I mean, the moves they've been making?
I don't disagree that he has to say.
I made the same point last week and got one of the Duffy faces.
Wait, no. You don't even know what you're saying
What
anymore,
is the
Tariq.
Duffy thing?
Whatever it is at the moment.
Do I look like that? Because I might go to a doctor.
You might want to watch the show.
No, look, as long as you have Josh Allen on your team, I believe, whether it's McDermott, the head coach, or anybody else, it's not if but when. That kid is going to win a Super Bowl, right? Like, there are only a handful of quarterbacks, maybe 2 or 3, that should have won Super Bowls in NFL history that didn't. You could put Marino up there. Elway was almost that guy. Josh Allen has the talent to be able to win a Super Bowl with whoever is around him if it breaks his way at some point, which odds are it has to at some point.
Well, I mean, he plays a huge role in that as the head coach of that. And I don't deny anything that you said about Allen and the ability to go to the Super Bowl and actually win the Super Bowl. It's the win part. And literally that door is starting to close. And let's be honest about Brandon Beane. He's going to make some really, really big decisions with some really big friends of his that have been around for a long, long time. You mentioned that last week. This is going to be a very big transitional year for the Buffalo Bills. And I'm sorry, the pressure's on McDermott.
There's
You know that.
32 teams in the league and a list. I'm a big believer in lists. Put the Buffalo Bills right at the top in terms of having salary cap issues that they're going to have to find a way out of.
Yeah, but 2 things happened since we spoke last time. One, you had the NFL salary cap be way higher than we thought, making up for the money that they lost during COVID-19.
The thing is, though, is it went up for everybody, so it doesn't really help Buffalo.
Understood, but it keeps you from having to cut as much salary as you thought you were going to. They've already started restructures for lower name guys on the roster. The Bills, it turns out, with that number popping, may not have to separate themselves from big names the way we thought they could have a month ago.
Don't you find it just a little unusual that these conversations and discussions are going on at a combine to replace the players that you probably will lose during the offseason?
Well, but that happens every single year, right? I mean, there's going to be cuts pre-June 1st that we're shocked by just straight up, period. I mean, look, Tre'Davious White is the biggest question, right? Bill's corner, he's coming off his 2nd major lower body injury. He's McDermott's first ever draft pick.
Do you bring him back right now?
I want to.
See, there's the want and the can you.
He deserves to be able to go back out there and do it again. He would also free up the ability to move Christian Bedford to safety if that's what they wanted to do. I would also understand if they decided to move on from him to save that money, but it would break my heart.
2 things really concern me. The first is Kansas City survived their issues, the salary cap issues the last couple of years, and all they did was win a Super Bowl. And the other thing is you got teams like the Chargers. There's still this constant influx of talent into the AFC that just makes it tougher.
Did you say the Chargers?
Yeah.
The Chargers have been the team of the future for the last 5 years.
But
really?
They never had
head coach, new vision now.
Okay, last week they had Khalil Mack and Bosa. Look at that defense; it's terrifying. And the year before that, look at Justin
Herbert.
We
knew who couldn't coach. Come on,
but here's the thing: no, we didn't because he got to take his job back. I will be scared of the Chargers when the Chargers actually do something. Like, I don't know, win a playoff game. Until then, I'm not even. They're irrelevant. They are irrelevant until they do something.
I think it's an if. To me, it's a numbers game. To me, it's not a when. It's an if over a when because it's the numbers are tough.
Well, the way-
What do you got when you look at Josh Allen? What do you get? Six, which is long. 6 prime years left of Josh Allen.
That's a ton of time.
It is, but 6.
With
just 6.
With a guy that puts his body on the line every single game and is going to have to find, as through those 6 years, at least the next 3 years, better ways to keep himself healthy for a 17-game season.
Are we going to have this discussion every year?
Because
every week.
He's that important to your team.
How many times does he have to show he is a freak of nature that can absorb it before people are finally like, hey, you know what? Maybe we were making a big deal out of nothing.
The guy's man of granite, apparently.
Yeah, have you seen that man with his shirt off?
Every time we discuss
No, man, because I don't look at him with his shirt
I want
off.
to buy into everything you say. I have a tough time with it.
Come on, buddy. It's nice and warm over here. Nice
Talk
and
about
relaxing.
the windows of opportunity and all the rest of the stuff every week.
Come on over,
until
let's
the
look
draft.
at Josh Allen with no shirt. We'll make it happen.
Our Buffalo Bills segment is brought to you by Connors and Ferris. Like it or not is next.
I worry about your fantasies. I really do.
Here's the Press Box Trivia question, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road.
You are going to love this classic getaway. Hello again, Mike O'Brien, your getaway guy. Yeah, classic cars. Wait until you see where I'm going to take you. Look for the Getaway Guy on Facebook.
Here's the Press Box Trivia answer, brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Time for Like It or Not. Pat, like it or not? I love the term, storming the court.
Can we stop with this? What is the big deal? When did everybody get so upset about something that we've done for 50 years and everything was so exciting? College basketball needs to make a decision because they are stuck between this weird, we are a better option than the NBA because we're intimate and these guys are amateurs and it's like being in a high school gym and that's what makes it so good. You can see the student sections right on top of these people. And then all of a sudden, when students act like students, well, we don't like it anymore. We don't want to do this. We're a professional entity, and you know what? We're going to expel you, or this, that, and the other thing. Charge you, fine you $1 million for your... No, just let it happen. It's happened forever.
Oh, by the way, there is a way to coordinate some chaos. Well, number one, you've got all these assistant coaches. Why don't you assign?
The chaos.
But that's what you. What is March Madness really all about? It's about the unbelievable games, the unbelievable finishes, butters or beaters, excitement, rivalry week when the rival who's lower ranked beats the higher ranked one. It's all about this excitement and last minute games. Keep the fun and the chaos where it is. Number two, protect the players a little bit better. You got 50 assistant coaches, for crying out loud. You can't assign 2 assistant coaches to make sure every player gets off the court and they're taken care of.
Big assistant coaches.
I mean, literally, come on. This is ridiculous. You want to stop something that we've been doing for years.
It was curious to me is that like the wide range of opinions. Like on one side, Peter King, stupidest thing in sports.
He's
all
old.
the way to the other side to Jim Boeheim, another old guy,
Super
who
old.
says like, I've been involved in 200 of these. I've never seen anyone get hurt. I don't know what the issue is.
It's percentages, really.
Well, and here's the thing, right? Every one of these campuses have campus officers. Just get 20 campus officers to make a ring around the opposing players and get them out of there. That's all you have to do. And like you said, how many times do you see it happen? If college basketball is going to stay in the forefront of relevancy, your product is not as good as the NBA talent-wise. You need to give me something that pulls at my heartstrings, and this is one of those things.
Oh, by the way, this is excitement. This is fun. This is last minute. It doesn't happen a lot.
Yep.
Usually happens when a game is really close or a rival is beating another rival or a buzzer beater.
Well,
Those are the times you need them.
Doesn't it need it now too? I mean, women's basketball has passed it this year.
The one thing we were just talking about a couple of weeks ago was the NBA All-Star Game. It was no fun. It was no electricity. This is somewhere where if I'm watching this game and it's close and it's a buzzer beater or it's a rivalry game or it's something that's big or you beat a number one and you're a low-ranked school, they don't get to storm the court a lot.
It's the only place in sports. It doesn't happen in the NHL. It doesn't happen in Major League Baseball. It doesn't happen in the NFL. It doesn't happen in the NBA. You only get this in college basketball. Do not give up what you do.
It is pure fun to watch.
Quickly, like it or not, the position that our own Canandaigua's Ryan Poles finds himself in, general manager of the Chicago Bears, and the whole Justin Fields thing.
Well, this is getting a little sketchy here. I get concerned about this because there's all these different rumors of trading the pick and keeping the pick. I feel as if he's the number one. You take the number
Fields.
one. You get.
But the Fields is in place.
But
Do you
I'm
keep
starting
him
to see, but the Fields is doing the whole unfriending Instagram thing, and it's getting to that uncomfortable stage here where he might end up someplace else, maybe Atlanta. But that being said, if I'm the Chicago Bears, this is your number one pick quarterback, you can't miss guy. You take him and you gamble with Williams.
I mean, look, if you're Ryan Poles, you work to be a GM, don't you want to be in this spot, right? You get to put your stamp on the franchise. He was hired last year. You jettison Fields out. Sorry, sucks. You bring in your guy. Now you have nobody can hold anything against you. This is your guy, your staff, your team. Put your name on it.
Plus, I think he's done great. I mean, he loaded up by trading that pick last year.
Mm-hmm.
He's in this position. He's got great history. I mean, he was part of the whole Mahomes thing in Kansas City.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah,
Oh, it's all about Pat all the time.
Sure, no, hey, my dog died when I was 10. You want to talk about that too?
Okay.
Jeez.
Who's
you
his
want to
name?
go back to that. That's our Like It or Not section. Unfinished Business is next.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. Come home to McArdle's.
Came now to Eichel. He floated one.
Unfinished Business is brought to you by Greg the Roofer. Better roof, better price. Better call Greg today. Save time and money on your roof and siding. Call us today for a free estimate. Special financing's available. Visit us online at gregtheroofer.com.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Unfinished Business brought to you by Greg the Roofer. And as always, Pat starts.
I miss baseball. Well, no, don't get me wrong. I'm going to go to a couple of Blue Jays games this year up in Toronto. I'm going to watch baseball on television, not like you huge nerds do and yell about everything, but as a casual observer. But the baseball I miss is Rochester Red Wings baseball. You know how long it's been since I've been at Innovative Field and had a hot dog and a beer? Like, actually, a couple of months. That's how long it's been since they've been out there. The Red Wings are so good at what they do. I like watching the sport of baseball. I don't really care what happens with the Red Wings when I go to watch those games. Now, I'll pay attention, but the presentation they give, the food that they sell, which my argument is Innovative Field is one of the best restaurants in Rochester, period. Forget about sports places. A month or two after the season's over, all I start thinking about is getting back out to the ballpark. And I know that time flies. We got this weird heat thing going on in Rochester right now, which probably isn't good for us long term, but the bottom line is this. It's got me thinking about what peanuts smell like, the taste of fries with vinegar on them, and how many fried doughs I'm going to eat when I get out to Innovative Field this season. I got my jerseys ready to go. I got my beer bat that I bought last season ready to fill up again. Let's play some ball so I can go out and drink beers and eat food at Innovative Field.
Oh, there's always the way when an organization is doing well. The Patriot way, the Yankee way. How will Yankees feel when Juan Soto hits a home run and that bat goes flying out of his hands and all the people that are Yankee fans or people who love and purists of the sport will be outraged by seeing this display of the way he runs around the bases. But for your team, you will love it. For your team, you'll soak it up because it's a chance to bring your team back in to the forefront of the elite baseball teams in Major League Baseball. So for all of you out there that love to hold the Yankees in this high regard and the prestige and the pinstripes and playing the Yankee way, hopefully you'll be able to enjoy and cheer when Juan Soto hits a home run and a bat goes flying and a trot turns into a showing up of another team. The Yankee way. We'll see it this year, and you'll love it.
Peter King announced his retirement last week. King was among the last of the old school sports reporters. He became famous as the pro football expert at Sports Illustrated in 1989. SI was the sports authority and a safe haven for exceptional journalism back then. He got out in 2018 before the internet assumed command of the national narrative, replacing the likes of King with a host of personalities whose primary skills were going viral with unsubstantiated takes and the ability to talk louder than everyone else in the room. As King took his victory laps on the national media outlets, I couldn't help but think about Bob Matthews. Like Peter, Bob was another of those tireless, old-school print guys. In Rochester, he was a must-read on a daily basis, equal parts journalist, historian, and curmudgeon. Reading his daily column was an essential part of any legitimate local sports fan's routine. His opinions mattered. Bob left the newspaper business in 2012. He took a generation or two with him. He wrote about me once. 2 lines in 1980, just before I began working at Channel 10. Writing in the Times-Union, Rochester's afternoon newspaper until 1997, Bob announced, Channel 10 has hired Bill Pucko as a weekend sports anchor. I wonder what he calls himself in the spring. I still have that column. Matthews was an original panelist on this program. He lasted one day. It was too confining for him. But I wonder 12 years later how the Rochester Press Box might have evolved differently had Bob stayed on, or how he might have changed. It could have served as his victory lap. He certainly deserved one. That's our Unfinished Business, brought to you by Greg the Roofer, and that is our program. In regard to Bob Matthews, I'm trying to imagine him sitting on a panel regularly with you two guys.
I can respectfully disagree. That's what this panel's about, right? We can have points.
Shut up!
What?
Shut up!
What the hell is he talking about?
I don't know that respectfully disagree was in Bob's vocabulary. That is our program again. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week with the Rochester Press Box.
What was your question?
I can respectfully disagree. I can respectfully disagree. No, you wouldn't respectfully disagree, Tariq. You would totally disagree.